Welcome to the channel, everyone. Today, we're diving into a topic that's raw, real, and maybe a little tough to hear. Why you must suffer before you succeed. If you've ever felt like life is hitting you with one challenge after another, or if you're wondering why the path to your dreams feels like it's lined with obstacles, this video is for you. We're going to unpack why suffering isn't just a random roadblock. It's a fundamental part of the journey to success. This is a deep dive. So grab a drink, get comfortable, and let's explore this together. By the end of this video, you'll see your struggles in a new light and feel empowered to keep pushing forward. Let's start with a truth that's as old as time. Nothing worth having comes easy. Think about the things you cherish most in your life. Maybe it's a close relationship, a career milestone, or a personal achievement like mastering a new skill. Did those things just land in your lap? Probably not. They likely came with sacrifice, hard work, or moments when you doubted yourself. That's because success, in any meaningful sense, is forged in struggle. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's a pattern we see in our own lives, in history, and in the stories of those who've achieved greatness. Suffering is the crucible where dreams are shaped. So what do we mean by suffering? It's not always about dramatic, life-altering pain. Suffering can be the quiet grind of working a job you don't love to fund your passion. It can be the sting of rejection, when you pour your heart into something and it's dismissed. It can be the loneliness of chasing a goal that nobody else gets. Suffering is any experience that stretches you, challenges you, and forces you to confront your limits. And here's the key. Those moments of discomfort are where growth happens. You've probably heard the story of how he failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. But let's really think about what that means. Thousands of experiments, thousands of hours, thousands of moments when he could have walked away. Each failure was a form of suffering, a hit to his confidence, a drain on his resources, a test of his resolve. But those failures weren't wasted. They taught him what didn't work, refined his approach, and ultimately led to a breakthrough that changed the world. Edison's success wasn't just about his brilliance. It was about his ability to endure suffering and keep moving forward. Now you might be wondering, why does it have to be so hard? Can't we learn the lessons without all the pain? It's a fair question, and it leads us to the science of growth. Psychologists talk about post-traumatic growth, the idea that people can emerge stronger from adversity. The key word is emerge. Suffering itself doesn't make you better, it's how you respond to it. When you face challenges, your brain adapts. It builds new neural pathways, sharpens your problem-solving skills, and strengthens your emotional resilience. Suffering is like a workout for your mind and soul, uncomfortable but transformative. Studies show that people who faced moderate levels of adversity often report higher levels of confidence, creativity, and purpose than those who've had smooth sailing. But there's a catch. Not everyone grows from suffering. Some people get stuck, consumed by bitterness or despair. So what's the difference between those who crumble and those who thrive? It's all about mindset. If you see suffering as a punishment or a dead end, it'll weigh you down. But if you see it as a teacher, a stepping stone, or a necessary part of the process, it becomes a catalyst. This is why stories of success often start with struggle, because the people who succeed are the ones who learn to reframe their pain as progress. Let's make this practical. If you're watching this, you're probably dealing with some form of suffering right now. Maybe you're stuck in a job that drains you, trying to launch a business that's not gaining traction, or facing personal setbacks that make success feel like a distant dream. Here's my first piece of advice. Don't run from the pain. Don't numb it with distractions or give up when it gets tough. Instead, lean into it. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How is this making me stronger? Jot down your answers if you can. The act of reflecting can turn a vague sense of struggle into a clear path forward. Another practical step is to focus on small, consistent actions. Suffering can feel overwhelming because it's often tied to big goals. Writing a novel, building a career, transforming your life. But big goals are made up of tiny steps. When I was struggling with this channel, I didn't aim for a viral hit overnight. I focused on small improvements, better lighting, tighter scripts, more authentic delivery. Those small wins kept me going, even when the bigger picture felt out of reach. So whatever you're facing, break it down. What's one small thing you can do today to move toward your goal? Do that, and then do it again tomorrow. Let's talk about failure, because it's one of the most common forms of suffering on the path to success. Nobody likes failing. It's embarrassing, it's discouraging, and it can make you question everything. But failure is also one of the most powerful teachers. When you fail, you get feedback. You learn what doesn't work, what needs to change, and sometimes what you're truly capable of. The trick is to treat failure as data, not as a verdict on your worth. If you let failure define you, it becomes a roadblock. But if you use it as a roadmap, it guides you forward. Consider Steve Jobs. When he was fired from Apple, the company he co-founded, it was a public humiliation. He later called it one of the most painful experiences of his life. But that suffering forced him to rethink his approach. He started Next and Pixar, both of which became wildly successful. When he returned to Apple, he brought the lessons of his failures, leading the company to create game changers like the iPhone. Jobs didn't succeed despite his suffering. He succeeded because of it. His failures reshaped his perspective and fueled his comeback. This brings us to a key idea. Suffering often prepares you for opportunities you can't yet see. When you're in the middle of a struggle, it's hard to imagine anything good coming from it. But looking back, you'll often see how those tough moments set you up for something bigger. That job loss might push you to start your own business. That rejection might lead you to a better opportunity. That heartbreak might teach you what you truly value. Suffering is like a plot twist in the story of your life. It feels like the end, but it's often the beginning of something new. Let's explore another example, Elon Musk. Whether you admire him or not, his achievements are undeniable, but his success came with immense suffering. In the early days of Tesla and SpaceX, Musk was on the brink of bankruptcy. He was sleeping on factory floors, working 100-hour weeks, and facing relentless criticism. There were moments when both companies were days away from collapse. That was his suffering, financial stress, public scrutiny, and the weight of impossible dreams. But he kept going, and those struggles shaped him into the visionary who's now pushing humanity toward Mars. His story shows that suffering isn't just about surviving. It's about using the pain to fuel your ambition. Here's another practical strategy. Create a vision board. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a collection of images, quotes, or reminders of what you're working toward. When I was struggling with this channel, I kept a photo of a packed auditorium on my desk. It reminded me of my dream to inspire people, even when the views weren't there. Your vision board might include a picture of your dream house, a logo for your future business, or a quote that lights a fire in you. Look at it when the going gets tough. It'll help you see past the pain to the prize. Another strategy is to build a support system. Suffering is lonely, but it doesn't have to be. Surround yourself with people who believe in you, friends, family, mentors, or online communities. Share your struggles and your dreams with them. When I was doubting myself, I joined a group of aspiring YouTubers online. We swapped tips, cheered each other on, and reminded each other why we started. That community kept me sane. Who's in your corner? If you don't have anyone yet, start small. Reach out to one person who inspires you or join a group related to your goals. Let's address the flip side. What happens if you avoid suffering? It's tempting to take the easy road, to stick with what's comfortable, but comfort breeds stagnation. If you never push yourself, you never grow. You might feel okay in the moment, but over time you'll start to feel stuck, unfulfilled, or even resentful. The irony is that avoiding suffering often leads to a different kind of pain, the pain of regret. And trust me, that's worse than any struggle you'll face on the path to success. This reminds me of a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. Nothing in the world is worth having or worth doing unless it means effort, pain, difficulty. Roosevelt wasn't just talking about physical effort. He was talking about the emotional and mental toll of chasing something meaningful. He knew that the things we value most are the ones we fight for. So the next time you're tempted to give up, ask yourself, do I want to look back and wish I'd tried harder, or do I want to know I gave it everything? Let's dive into the role of sacrifice and suffering. Success often requires giving up something, time, money, comfort, or even relationships. That sacrifice can feel like suffering, especially when you see others living easier lives. But sacrifice is what separates dreamers from doers. When I started this channel, I gave up weekends, social outings, and a lot of sleep. It wasn't fun, but it was necessary. What are you willing to sacrifice for your goals? It might be late nights, a second job, or saying no to distractions. Whatever it is, see it as an investment in your future. Another example comes from sports, Serena Williams. Her success on the tennis court came from years of grueling training, injuries, and the pressure of being in the spotlight. She sacrificed a normal childhood, countless hours, and her physical health to become a champion. But that suffering paid off. She didn't just win titles, she redefined what's possible in her sport. Her story shows that sacrifice, though painful, is often the price of greatness. Let's talk about resilience, because it's the heart of this journey. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from suffering, to keep going even when life knocks you down. And here's the good news. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. Every time you face a challenge and push through, you're strengthening your resilience muscle. Think of it like training for a marathon. The first few runs are brutal, but over time your body adapts and you can go farther. Suffering works the same way. It trains you to handle bigger challenges down the road. One way to build resilience is to practice gratitude. I know gratitude sounds like a buzzword, but it's powerful. When you're suffering, it's easy to focus on what's going wrong, but taking a moment to appreciate what's going right can shift your perspective. Maybe you're struggling financially, but you have a supportive family. Maybe your business isn't taking off, but you're learning skills that will pay off later. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you the strength to keep going. Try this. Every day, write down 3 things you're thankful for. It's a small habit that can make a big difference. Let's explore another historical figure, Abraham Lincoln. Before he became one of America's greatest presidents, Lincoln faced a lifetime of suffering. He lost his mother at a young age, struggled with poverty, and faced repeated failures in business and politics. He battled depression so severe that friends worried for his safety. Yet those struggles shaped him into a leader who could guide a divided nation through its darkest hour. Lincoln's suffering gave him empathy, wisdom, and an unshakable commitment to justice. His life is a testament to the idea that suffering can prepare you for a purpose bigger than yourself. Now let's zoom out and look at the cultural narrative around suffering. In many ways, we're conditioned to avoid pain at all costs. Ads promise quick fixes, influencers flaunt effortless success, and technology makes life more convenient than ever. But this avoidance of suffering can leave us unprepared for reality. Success isn't a product you can buy or a hack you can download. It's a process that requires effort, sacrifice, and yes, pain. Embracing this gives you an edge. While others chase shortcuts, you'll be building something real. Another story to consider is Malala Yousafzai. As a young girl in Pakistan, Malala faced unimaginable suffering for advocating girls' education. She was targeted by the Taliban, shot in the head, and nearly killed. Yet that suffering didn't stop her. It fueled her mission. She went on to become the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner, inspiring millions with her courage. Malala's story shows that suffering can be more than a personal struggle. It can be a catalyst for changing the world. What's your cause? How can your struggles inspire others? Let's talk about fear, because it's often at the root of suffering. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. These can make struggles feel unbearable, but fear is also a sign that you're on the right track. If you're not scared, you're probably not pushing yourself hard enough. The key is to act despite the fear. When I posted my first YouTube video, I was terrified of what people would think. But hitting publish was the first step toward overcoming that fear. What's one thing you're afraid to do right now? Take a small step toward it today. You'll be amazed at how much lighter you feel. Another example is Beyoncé. Even someone as iconic as her has faced suffering. Early in her career, she dealt with rejection, intense pressure, and the challenges of breaking into a competitive industry. She's spoken about the fear and self-doubt she felt, even as she rose to fame. But she channeled that suffering into her work, using it to fuel her creativity and drive. Her success isn't just about talent, it's about her ability to face fear, embrace struggle, and keep evolving. If Beyoncé can suffer and still shine, so can you. Let's touch on the importance of rest. Suffering is necessary, but so is recovery. If you push yourself too hard for too long, you risk burnout. Think of suffering like weightlifting. You need to stress the muscle to grow, but you also need rest to repair. Schedule time to recharge, whether it's a walk, a hobby, or just a night of Netflix. When I was grinding on this channel, I learned the hard way that non-stop work led to diminishing returns. Now I make time for rest, and it's made me more productive, not less. So give yourself permission to pause. It's not quitting, it's strategy. Another angle is the idea of meaning in suffering. One of the most powerful ways to endure pain is to find purpose in it. When you're suffering for something bigger than yourself, a dream, a loved one, a cause, it becomes easier to bear. Think about parents who work grueling jobs to provide for their kids. Their suffering has meaning because it's for someone they love. What's your why? Maybe it's proving to yourself that you can do it, or creating a better life for your family, or leaving a legacy. Whatever it is, hold on to it. It'll carry you through the darkest moments. Let's look at Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychologist. In his book Man's Search for Meaning, he wrote about how finding purpose helped him endure the horrors of concentration camps. He believed that even in the worst suffering, we can choose our attitude and find meaning. Frankl's insight is a reminder that suffering doesn't have to be senseless. Even in your smallest struggles, you can find a purpose that gives you strength. What's the meaning behind your current challenges? How can they serve a bigger goal? Let's talk about the long game. Suffering is often a test of patience. Success doesn't happen on your timeline. It happens when you're ready. And readiness comes from the cumulative effect of your struggles. Every rejection, every late night, every tear shed is a deposit in the bank of your future. When I look back at the early days of this channel, I see how each struggle added up. The bad videos taught me editing. The harsh comments taught me resilience. The slow growth taught me patience. It all mattered. So trust the process, even when it's slow. You're building something that lasts. Another practical step is to celebrate small wins. Suffering can make you feel like you're not making progress, but that's rarely true. Take time to acknowledge your efforts, no matter how small. Did you finish a tough project? Celebrate. Did you show up when you didn't feel like it? Celebrate. For me, every 100 subscribers was a milestone. I'd treat myself to a coffee or a night out, not because it was a million, but because it was progress. Those celebrations kept me motivated. What's a small win you can celebrate today? Let's explore the role of community again, because it's so important. Suffering can make you feel isolated, but you don't have to go it alone. Find people who share your values or your goals. They don't have to be perfect, just real. When I was struggling with this channel, I leaned on a few close friends who believed in me. They didn't have all the answers, but they listened, and that was enough. Who can you turn to when things get tough? If you don't have that person yet, take a step toward building that connection. It's worth it. Another angle is the idea of legacy. Suffering isn't just about you, it's about the impact you'll have on others. The struggles you face today could inspire someone else tomorrow. Maybe your story of overcoming failure will motivate a friend. Maybe your hard-won success will show your kids what's possible. When I think about why I keep making these videos, it's not just for me. It's for the people who watch, who message me saying they've been inspired to keep going. Your suffering is part of your legacy. How do you want it to shape the way others see you? Let's dive into another layer, the psychological benefits of suffering. Beyond post-traumatic growth, suffering can enhance your emotional intelligence. When you've been through hard times, you develop a deeper understanding of others' pain. This makes you a better leader, friend, or partner. Think about the best bosses or mentors you've had. Chances are they've faced their own struggles. Their suffering gave them the empathy to connect with you. How can your current challenges make you more compassionate or insightful? Another example is Walt Disney. Before he built an entertainment empire, Disney faced bankruptcy, betrayal by business partners, and the loss of his first major character, Oswald the Rabbit. Those setbacks were crushing, but they taught him to innovate, protect his work, and dream bigger. The suffering of losing Oswald led to the creation of Mickey Mouse, a cultural icon. Disney's story shows that suffering can spark creativity, forcing you to think outside the box and find new solutions. Let's talk about the role of discipline in suffering. Suffering often demands that you show up, even when you don't feel like it. That's where discipline comes in. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, regardless of your mood or circumstances. When I was building this channel, there were days I wanted to skip filming or editing. But I forced myself to stick to a schedule, even if it was just an hour of work. that discipline turns small efforts into big results. What's one area where you can be more disciplined? Start small, commit to 10 minutes a day, and watch how it adds up. Another contemporary example is Simone Biles. As one of the greatest gymnasts ever, her journey hasn't been without suffering. She's faced intense pressure, public scrutiny, and the trauma of abuse within her sport. At the 2020 Olympics, she made headlines by prioritizing her mental health, stepping back from competition. That decision was its own kind of suffering, facing criticism and doubt, but it also showed her strength, and she returned to dominate the sport on her terms. Biles's story reminds us that suffering isn't just about pushing through. It's about knowing when to pause and protect your well-being. Let's explore the idea of surrender in suffering. This might sound counterintuitive, but sometimes the best way to deal with suffering is to accept it. Not in a defeatist way, but in a way that acknowledges its presence and chooses to move forward anyway. When I was struggling with this channel, I spent a lot of energy fighting the fact that it was hard. Once I accepted that struggle was part of the process, I could focus on what I could control: my effort, my learning, my attitude. What's one struggle you're resisting? Try surrendering to it, not by giving up, but by seeing it as part of your journey. Another historical figure to consider is Frida Kahlo. The Mexican artist faced immense physical and emotional suffering: polio as a child, a near-fatal bus accident, and a tumultuous personal life. Yet she channeled that pain into her art, creating vibrant, raw paintings that resonate to this day. Kahlo's suffering didn't limit her. It defined her unique voice. Her story shows that suffering can be a source of creativity, giving you a perspective that sets you apart. How can your struggles shape your unique contribution to the world? Let's talk about the role of hope in suffering. Hope is what keeps you going when the pain feels overwhelming. It's the belief that things can get better, that your efforts will pay off. But hope isn't just a feeling, it's a choice. When I was getting nowhere with this channel, I had to choose to believe that my work would eventually connect with people. That hope wasn't based on evidence at the time, it was based on faith in the process. What's one area where you need to choose hope? Remind yourself that every step forward, no matter how small, is a reason to keep believing. Another example is Chadwick Boseman. The late actor faced immense suffering while filming iconic roles like Black Panther. He was battling colon cancer, enduring chemotherapy and surgeries, yet he continued to perform at the highest level. His suffering was private, but it added depth to his work and inspired millions. Boseman's story shows that suffering can coexist with greatness, and sometimes it's the fuel for it. How can your struggles add depth to your own work or purpose? Let's bring this full circle. We started by asking why you must suffer before you succeed. The answer, as we've seen, is that suffering is the raw material of success. It clarifies your purpose, builds your character, teaches you resilience, and prepares you for opportunities you can't yet see. It's not easy, and it's not fair, but it's necessary. The good news? You're stronger than you think. Every struggle you've faced has already proven that. And every struggle you're facing now is preparing you for something greater. So here's my final challenge. Embrace your suffering. Don't wish it away or resent it. See it as a partner in your journey, not an enemy. Lean into the lessons it's teaching you. Take small, consistent steps toward your goals. Surround yourself with people who lift you up. And above all, keep going. Success isn't the absence of suffering, it's the courage to push through it. You've got this. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more content like this. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's one struggle you're facing right now, and how are you turning it into strength? I read every comment, and I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep fighting, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next video.